Hello and welcome back to another SPACEDOCK workshop with Team Trekyards. This week we're going to be looking at canonical builds. So, when it cooperates. First off, I'm going to be looking at a lockbox ship, the USS Vengeance. Otherwise known as the Kelvin Timeline Intel Dreadnought Cruiser. As you can see here, I'm using the weapons from the Kelvin Timeline lockbox, including torpedoes and beam arrays. Hey there, Mad Dog. And, well, quite obviously, as you can see here, canonical builds are quite easy for lockbox ships, as the lockbox they come in tends to come with their weapons. So, like, for example, you can see here in my inventory, up first you can see a sneak peek at next workshop's R&D here. But also, further down, we've got various different lockbox weapons that I've picked up over the various lockboxes that have come out. So, for example, we've got the Delphic lockbox, got the Zinkethi lockbox, the Discovery lockbox, and weapons from the Sonar and the Privateer lockbox. So, yeah, you can see here, fairly straightforward. Just got the standard phasers and Kelvin Timeline Photon Torpedo, on the ship in a fairly standard setup. Kelvin ship and equipment such as the mining drill laser emitter, and one thing to remember if you are on the Federation side or on the KDF side or an allied Romulan to one of them, you will have these boxes where you can buy the equipment from ships from the other side, the other faction as it were. So for example, I got the proton charge launcher and the mining drill laser emitters from Federation boxes, which will drop from the box itself, or you can buy them on the exchange. Normally they're only a couple of million EC at most. Looking at some of the other equipment I've got on here, so as you can see, I've got the assimilated module. Whilst that's not technically canon, I could get rid of it. But one thing you can do as well is, because these have a visual, you can just disable them, and it will still be a very powerful ship, and have you don't necessarily have to see all of the things under the hood. Like, for example, I'm not gonna turn on this shield visual and turn it into some sort of, well, you can't really see it very clearly here, but it's bright white with sort of blue LEDs everywhere. Got a few people joining me in their ships. Been quite nice. Let's turn that off. So, of course, if you did want to go really into canon builds, so for example, you can use, for example, more so on the 24th and 25th century ships, you've got things like the adopted Mako set, the regular Mako set, and the Aegis, and the competitive sets, as well as a couple of others if you really want. So, for example, there's the Terran ones, the Counter Command ones, but with things like the Terran and the Counter Command sets, you are going to have to disable visuals, or your ship's going to end up looking very, very different to how it's seen on screen. So this is more an example of the lockbox ships. Said lockbox is going to come with its weapons, it's going to come with some various consoles, and then you can fill those up with whatever console you want. Obviously, if they've got a visual, you're probably going to want to turn those off. As you can see here, it's disabled. It's giving me the option to turn it back on, or not if you want to slightly tweak it. So you can argue, oh, but, you know, Narada, Borg technology, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to right now, because I'll probably get in trouble with at least a few members of the Trek Yards community. But then obviously there is various things available at the fleet holding. So for example, the Xenotech Resilience module is from K13. It's roughly the same era as this, just, you know, a different timeline. Or, you know, who's judging? We're in the 25th century. So yeah, you can fill up these remaining console slots with your fleet consoles. So for example, there obviously you've seen the Xenotech console, and if I can find this in this bloated list of consoles that I've gathered over the past years, say, there we go, the Enhanced Neutronium Alloy. Also, there is Reputation consoles, so you'll see a few of those in a moment, such as the Bioneural Gel. Obviously, as you can see there, we did have Voyager next to me. I think they've maybe got lost in the Delta Quadrant again. But the Voyager, you would very much want to put something like the Bioneural Gel pack on there just to get the extra flavour. And obviously, yeah, we've got a Ferengi ship. So the Ferengi consoles, most of those are on the Lobi store, unfortunately, so you are going to need to open a few lot boxes to get those Lobi crystals to buy them. I guess that's kind of fitting, seeing as the Lobi crystals are provided in here by the Ferengi Consortium. And I'll just have a quick look to show some of the space gears that they've got there. So you can see here various sets. So I could use the Advanced Diffuse Tetrion on Zinkethi ships, the Delphic set on Delphic ships, of course, so on and so forth. And as you can see here, this list goes on for quite a long time. It's obviously been a lot of ships, and here we are. The Ferengi set, such as Rule 32 Multipurpose Combat Console, will go very nicely on that ship there. Obviously you can put this on any ship, but we're talking strictly canon here because why not? That's the purpose of today. So let's have a look at a free ship that was available to all players. I'm probably going to horribly mispronounce this. The Denorius class Bajoran Intercept T6. It was available in the most recent anniversary. We've got a nice warp out, somehow managed to fit through the starbase. And here we go, the Bajoran Interceptor. And as you can see here, let's put that back on. There we are. This is a phaser build for the Interceptor. At this point in the timeline, in the SCO timeline, the Bajoran ships are being rebuilt by the Alliance. So of course you can put on Plasma, Disruptor, or really anything. But in the shows we see them using phasers. So here we are, I've got various phaser beams on here that I've crafted. And the Trilithium set, because it's a nice looking set and it's slightly closer to some of the different types of phaser beams that we've seen. So, of course, being the Bajoran's ship, I've got the Bajoran set that was available in, oops, wrong button there. Some of the most recent episodes.
Starfleet intelligence believes a Zinkethi attack
Not
on
now,
an
Admiral.
world could happen very soon. With their new proto-matter torpedoes,
Yeah, so Celia and Charaboidis, again, apologies for horribly mispronouncing anything I mispronounce. You can rerun that mission, get 3 of the pieces. However, the warp drive, you do need to get that with the ship. So if you've missed the anniversary event, unfortunately, until they add it to something like the Phoenix box, you unfortunately won't be able to get it. So yeah, moving back towards some of the ships. Charybdis. Thank you, Aura Enchanted, for that. Any other pronunciations, feel free to point them out. Please don't shout. I'm very sensitive. I'm not really. So, you can see here, warping in and out next to me, we've got a couple of interesting ships here. So there we go. We've got the Shenzhou. Sorry, the Walker class. Got the Sovereign, we've got a Galaxy, and I believe that is the engineering variant on the Odyssey. Is that the Sojourner class? Oh, that one I know I got wrong. Now, yeah, sorry. Let's go back to something I won't horribly mince. So yeah, as you can see here, like I was talking about earlier, I've got some of the reputation consoles, such as the binaural gel pack and the ferrofluid hydraulic assembly. Concepts that have been talked about in canon and probably would have at least been included in the 25th century version. Obviously, if you're going for a period piece, then, you know, say on a 23rd century ship, you won't want the 31st century consoles. It's going to be a little bit out of place. But I do have the Domino console, the console that comes with the ship. And again, like with the other ships, you can fill them up with the fleet consoles. Devices, it's a similar story. You can just put your generic batteries on there, or if you want a bit of functionality and don't mind playing a little bit fast and loose with some canon here, I've got the red matter capacitor. Obviously, they weren't installing those willy-nilly on the Bajoran ships at the time, but you know, then I didn't exactly expect them to have a Voice of the Prophets as an experimental weapon, which I kind of miss the original visual they showed off with this. It looked a lot like the Skyrim Fusrodar visual effect. I mean, it's still a good effect now. You know, I guess I'm just a bit of a fanboy for multiple franchises. Sorry, not sorry. So, one other aspect you can have with canon is your beta and other side canons. And so one example, if you remember back to the TNG episode where you've got 235,000 universes of Enterprise entering in this one scene, and they're all hailing one version of an Enterprise. Yes, or it is, I think, probably the best experimental weapon thus far, because of just the sheer amount of damage it does. And it's got a, as you can see there, to additional foes it does half of the regular damage. So yeah, anyway, the Borg-infested timeline. Now, the Captain's Yacht, you get this for free when you purchase a lifetime subscription. There recently was a sale. I would recommend, if you are going to spend a very, very, very long time in Star Trek Online, then it will pay back the money you put in, but I would say wait for a sale. It's a lot of money to spend on one game. Anyway, as you can see here, I've gone for a Borgified Captain's Yacht here. So I've got the Borg set on it, the kinetic cutting beam, your plasma torpedo launcher, the Borg console would be on there if it wasn't on another ship. Where did you go? Anyway, moving on, I've also put the Trellium D plating and the temporally shielded data core, not because they're particularly Borg consoles, but because shuttles are very, very, very squishy, which is not something that the Borg are known for particularly. Unless you're playing in the Borg Red Alert on normal difficulty, in which case a beam fire at will and, you know, goodbye Unimatrix, if it was there. So yeah, I've got the Borg set on there. You get that from the Borg reputation. And I guess that's one of the nice things about having multiple timelines in Star Trek Online. You can have a, air quotes here, canon story featuring some of these different realities. The Aura Enchanted Protomatter shell from the Shuktin is probably better. Maybe. I mean, if you're in a raider and you're flying directly at them, sure. I can see it. You know, it fits very well with the Zenkethi's MO on attacks and that. But in a ship like this, I'm not going to want to be in front of someone because I'm probably going to be turned into Bajoran space dust very quickly. But yeah, no, the Protomatter Sheller as well does have some very nice effects to it there. Yeah, we see 50% of its damage being applied as radiation, which is not something that most people have a lot of resistances to unless they really, you know, go for it. So yeah, this was a bit of a short workshop. You know, I've shown a couple of builds there on a couple of ships. Obviously, I'm gonna, you know, just show off another one here quickly. It's probably not fully set up because I have been moving some of these consoles around to show a couple of them. Oh no, that one's fairly well equipped actually. So yeah, here's another example of a mostly cannon build. Unfortunately, the quantum phase torpedoes aren't in the Discovery show. If they were, that'd be very nice, but you can always just put on the 23rd century torpedoes that you get from K-13, replace them with that. And as you can see here, it's another example, it's another lockbox ship, so it's got more lockbox weaponry. It's got a deflector set, which, whilst isn't entirely from the cannon, it doesn't have much of a visual, so I put it on there because it boosts a lot of the stats that this ship will like, such as your drain expertise and your flight speed, which, who doesn't like a bit of flight speed? So yeah, and obviously as you can see here, it's got the various consoles that would be available to the Discovery and ships of that era. Also, I've got on there, I've got another 23rd century console, the Dynamic Power Redistributor module from the Synergistic Retrofitting set. These are from the 4 ships from the 23rd century, such as the NX Refit and the Atlas class and its Romulan and Klingon counterparts, which names I cannot remember off the top of my head. So this is a bit of a quick SPACEDOCK workshop, but if you have any specific ships that you want me to have a look at, any specific races you want me to go over, or you know, you just want to show off your ships, then oops, that was the wrong button, sorry about that. Yeah, anyway, no, if you do want to you know, just show off and or look for something in particular, be sure to let me know. I'm contactable in-game at SamKosh. Although, if you are a member of Team Trekyard's STO fleets, there is, of course, the Team Trekyard's STO Facebook page and the website, teamtrekyardssto.co.uk. Team Trekyard's sto.com should be available hopefully soon, maybe. For those of you who don't like using .co.uk, apparently. Okay, I didn't even ask for that spin, but, you know, I'm not going to say no to it. So, it was a nice quick one. Thank you all for turning up. Thank you all for those who are watching this later. And to those who are commenting. And if you'd like to leave a suggestion for a future workshop, please let me know at the Team Trekyard's STO page, STO Facebook page, or the website. Yeah, that was a very quick one. I'll see you all next time. Thank you all for coming. And on the next one, we will be going in a bit more depth. It will be a longer one next time, talking more about the R&D system, how to get the most of it, things that will probably sell well, and things you're going to want to keep a hold of just to make sure you're more competitive, and as well, because it's you're crafting phaser beams and disruptors and stuff. It will also help if you're making a canonical build, like a cannon build. That's a very different workshop. Maybe we'll get into that if there's a request for it. So yeah, I've been SamKosh, and I'll see you all later.